bunch of different topics and talk about common health misconceptions, because these days you hear so many things, right, circulating, so many different phrases and things on social media and things that people tell you. I just thought I would dispel some of the misinformation that you find out there.
Could I just like one I remember, because
Yeah.
I forget things so easily. Is sourdough bread as good as brown bread? Because it doesn't have any sugar in it, but so what would you say? Brown bread or sourdough?
That's actually one of the, not specifically, but no, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I like it, I like it.
But I was talking to you just now, and thought, oh, I'll say that in a minute, it's gone. I don't know what I was going to say to you.
So it depends, it just depends on the brand that you're buying. It also depends on the type of brown bread specifically.
Yeah.
You can get a lot more sourdough bread that is white bread, but because it's sourdough bread, it doesn't affect blood sugar as much as a couple other different white breads and brown breads as well sometimes. The brown bread, often they add more preservatives to it, whereas the sourdough bread, they don't have to as much. Because it's sourdough, it preserves itself for longer. So it just depends on the type that you're getting. But have you got a specific one in mind? Have you got a particular brand that you like?
Yeah, there's Jason's. Apparently that's supposed to have no sugar added. It's supposed to be the better one, so that's why I thought one might try.
Is that the one that you showed me? Did you bring that in one time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a good one. Well, I'll look it up actually. After we finish that, I'll look it up and we can have a little delve on Tesco again.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll go through the first one. Also, while we're doing this, think of any that you have heard yourself. It might be in here, it might be one that I add later, but if you think of any things that you think could be a misconception, let's talk about it, and then that will be one I add later. So, first one. Frozen fruit and veg are not as nutritious as fresh. We've talked about it a little bit, but it's still one that I think stumbles people a little bit. Do any of you feel like they are not as good as fresh?
I think that, but they're not. They're just the same, aren't they?
Okay. The same is dependent on a few things, but okay.
If you cook them properly, not boil them to death.
So that's something to think about, how you actually cook the fresh ones. Rosie, what did you say?
So frozen fruit and veggies can be better because once it's picked, it's then frozen, so it's not sitting on the shelves. It's
Yeah.
not sitting on.
So it depends how fresh and when it was frozen. With the how fresh, you can go to the supermarket and you can get fresh, but that has potentially, it's potentially been sat in a warehouse or in some kind of, fridge unit, and maybe it has like preservatives on it potentially. So in that case, the frozen actually might be a better option. With the frozen, it depends how soon it was frozen. So if you were to pick something yourself and immediately put it in the freezer, in a week, that would be more nutritious than the thing that you left out of the freezer. Does that make sense? Yeah. So actually, this is a really great way. I have a bag of frozen veg in my freezer all the time. It's got like 6 different types of vegetables in it. So it's an easy method of just getting, a lot of fiber in, a lot of variety. And so actually, I think frozen is a really good option a lot of the time. And it's cheaper, and you end up with less waste too. Have any of you avoided it? Because I know that in the past, sometimes people have looked down on frozen a little bit. Always get frozen? Yeah.
If it was up for frozen, my lot wouldn't get
I
there.
do like getting fresh veggies.
Anything I do buy fresh only because it's too mushy frozen, broccoli. Because I like it's too mushy.
Like cauliflower as well.
Oh, really?
13. It's some, I don't know.
You like your frozen sweet corn though?
I prefer tin, but frozen lasts longer.
Mm.
I feel like tin
Not
is
my
more
one.
like,
It's
sweeter.
Yeah. Okay.
Just have to make the make sure the glue's in.
Okay, that's the first one. We got 12 of these, by the way. I don't know if we'll get through all of them, but we'll see. 2. Brown sugar is healthier than white. Who votes for yes? Who votes that brown sugar is healthier than white sugar? Okay. So we've got, and then, and might be dearer as well.
Oh, much dearer.
And might be dearer. Anybody for the opposite? Does anybody think that actually brown sugar is not healthier than white sugar?
It's more of a natural sugar, isn't it, Graham?
That's what you hear a lot of the time. Okay, so here's the distinction. Brown sugar is white sugar that has had the molasses put back in. Now, the molasses actually doesn't change it all that much because it's a very minuscule amount. That's why it's brown instead of white. So actually, you could potentially argue that it's a little bit more processed than the white. But either way you cut it, as soon as you're getting a granulated sugar, it's highly processed to get to that point. The difference between the brown and white isn't actually very big. In fact, the calories pretty much identical, the effect on blood sugar identical, and the effect on your teeth the same as well. So actually, it's more of a, I think it came about, actually I don't know, I think it came about because we often say that brown rice, brown bread, brown pasta, I think the assumption is brown sugar as well. Yeah, but this one stumbles people quite frequently. A lot of people don't realize this. Yeah.
So I don't have sugar, so I don't know.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But you might be somewhere and it markets, made with brown sugar or something like that. But it's good to know that actually. Yeah. Number 3, we should do 10,000 steps a day. We should do 10,000 steps.
And they're all saying that was a huge marketing ploy, isn't it? To sell all the donators back in the day.
Oh, interesting. I didn't think about that. See, all of a sudden, it just started popping up on my radar. And I don't think there's anything wrong with, actually, wait, who believes that we should do 10,000 steps?
That's what you read.
That's what you hear a lot of the time, right?
I think it's hard to say because 10,000 steps if you're 6 foot tall
Yeah, true.
is so many miles that if you've got short legs,
Yeah.
you're going to have to do double the amount of miles.
I've got to do 30,000 steps a day to keep up.
Yeah, but that's why I could never understand that.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, in reality, and I kind of tried to trick a little bit by putting the 5K up higher, but actually, it doesn't matter in most cases. It's all about what you can do. The difference between the person who can do 2,000 steps and 10,000 steps is really just how many steps they can do. But if they are both improving by 10%, let's say, that's still a 10% improvement, however way you want to look at it. So actually, 10,000 steps is not a requirement. If you can do it, great. The other thing about 10,000 steps is that it makes people think, I need to stop there. Like, if you can't do 10,000 steps, it makes people think, oh, I'm not doing enough. If you can do 10,000 steps, it actually might prevent you from doing more than that. Because if you stop at 10,000, you could get 12,000, but there may be steps that you're missing out on the top end. So in both directions, I don't think it's something that we should use to limit ourselves, but it's something to think about. You know what I mean? Out of interest, do any of you measure your steps? Do you know what your average kind of level is?
I set my watch at 6,000
Okay.
because that is comfortable.
Mm.
Sometimes I do more, sometimes I do less. And the irony is if I'm indoors,
Mm.
I do more because I'm up and down to the shed, to the tumble dryer, or up and down to
Mm.
whatever. But that's what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
And I do more.
Mm. That's the other thing, being comfortable with it. Because if you, let's say out of the blue, you decided, you know what, the next week I'm going to do 10,000 a day. The week after, how would you feel? Yeah. Yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's another thing. Like, you don't want to get injured. I want you to think about the sustainability of it. You know, how long can I actually sustain this for and do this for before I start to feel the pain later down the line? Number 4. Sweeteners are healthier than sugar. Okay. Is that because of me or is that?
No, that's
Okay.
because I was told that, as for me personally as a
Mm.
diabetic, that because I was like, oh, I have sweetener, and he said that's actually harder to process for the body to process
Mm.
than sugar.
Yeah. And also, we're assuming we're talking about the same sweetener in that sentence. There are so many different types of sweeteners. Some of them might be better suited for some people than others. Some people might actually be better with making a reduction in the sugar content. So there's different approaches, right? And then I put different things here because there are different types of sweeteners in different products. So for example, in this unnamed brand that we don't recognize, which I just realized maybe I'll cover this up. This would probably have aspartame and acyl K. I think I'm saying that correctly. And these are really artificial sweeteners that can disrupt the gut health, can promote bloating and disruption to the stomach. If somebody has IBS, that can potentially exacerbate the problem. So that's one type of sweetener that I definitely don't feel like I can promote the use of it, but that can help people to reduce their sugar intake. So I can't say that it's entirely bad, but I can't say that it's entirely good as well. Then we've got these over here in chocolate and biscuits. You're more likely to have what are called polyols. So do you know an example of a polyol? I'll give you a clue. It has the same ending as polyol. So you've got erythritol, xylitol, maltitol, sorbitol. Those are all different types of sweetener alternative, but those are naturally derived. So they come from plants and from fruits. And then what they do is they put them in more like baked goods and chocolate bars and stuff like that. Problem is, you can buy, so there's a brand. Do any of you know the brand? Now I'm recording, I'm like, oh, should I say these brands? Do you know the brand Gullon? Gullon, yeah? Okay, so they make a no added sugar or a sugar-free biscuit, right? And what they do is they use maltitol. If you look at the first or second ingredient, it says maltitol. So that means that there's a heavy amount of that sweetener in there. Now, a person who's diabetic, let's say, will go to the shop and they'll see that and they'll go, oh, great, finally a biscuit for me. They take that home. Two things about that. Firstly, these polyols, they can also disrupt the gut. So they have a laxative effect, or they can have a laxative effect. So they eat that and then experience it rather quickly again, potentially. And they're also made of white flour primarily. So therefore, they actually will still have an effect on blood sugar and potentially have that laxative effect. But if I'm diabetic, I might be like, oh, I can eat the whole thing. But should I? You know what I mean? So those are others that we could think about. Do you know of any sweetener that I might recommend to you? Ooh, I don't know what canderel is. Like, I don't know what sweetener it's made out of. Yes, please.
I use anisetas.
What is it?
Anisetas, is it called?
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one I use.
Is that the brand name or is that the type of sweetener, do you know?
That is the brand, isn't it?
Okay, we'll find out what one that is as well, because that would be interesting to find out.
I only use it in my coffee. I don't take sugar in
Mm.
nothing else, but I can't cut it down. Just
Well, that's the thing. I think people have this idea that we have to be at net zero for sugar.
yeah.
And I'm not saying that you're doing something wrong by having the sweetness at all, but if you have reduced, like whittled down your sugar consumption to just it being in your coffee, let's say, that's not a bad thing. If you then decided, I'm gonna get rid of that, I'm gonna keep the sweeteners, that's okay as well, because you're making a decision that is based on having less sugar. But I would say that you should probably look out for any unpleasant symptoms that maybe go away after you stop having the sweetener. Because there might be some, there might not be. You know, I'm saying this as if everybody experiences the same thing, and they don't. Like, some people can have these sweeteners for a very long time and not really experience any negative effects. My grandmother, for example, has been having sweeteners since like the 80s and has not really had much sugar in that time. But when I have a drink like this, I get spots all over my face and I get really bloated. It's quite dramatic, actually. So yeah,
It's Euphramine.
Yeah, that's the acylfame K, I think, or acylfame potassium, or
Sucralose or stevia.
okay.
Stevia, which they use to bulk out the agents like maltodextrin or dextrin, sugar.
So wait, was that all in one product?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
it. That's obviously not good.
interesting. Okay.
All in one product.
So for me, that would be one that I know I would rather have a little bit of sugar than that personally. But again, we've all got different reasons for having different products, right? But at least you know to look out for anything unpleasant that you're experiencing. Yeah. You mentioned the one that I would recommend though. It was the last one you said. Stevia. So stevia is the only one that I feel comfortable saying give that a try, mainly because typically people don't have any negative effects as a result of it. Some people do say that it affects their stomach a little bit, but that doesn't seem to be a general consensus. Stevia is derived from a plant and can actually be useful for improving blood pressure, still better for the teeth in comparison to sugar, doesn't affect blood sugar at all, and I can't remember if there are any other benefits, but those are some good benefits, and typically doesn't have the drawbacks that these ones do. So that's one that I would look at. One thing I would say though, is that what they sometimes do is they will combine stevia with one of those ones that I mentioned, one of the polyols. So you might look at it and it will say stevia extract plus maltitol, in which case that maltitol could affect me more negatively, whereas a pure stevia maybe won't. So that's something to look for.
What format does that come in? Sorry, but what does that come?
You can get it.
Does it look like grains of sugar, or is it in like a sweetener pot thing?
You can actually get it. Well, you can get it as a granule. Welcome back. No, you're okay. You're good. You can get it as a granulated kind of sugar. In that case, though, it's more likely to have the other type added to it. But you can also get it as a liquid, and you like have a pipette. That one can be a little bit bitter, though. That's what I found. Like the liquid one, the drawback is that it's a little bit bitter, but some people like it. It's a bit of a weird one. But that's what I find, and what I've been saying recently is that there are no solutions, only trade-offs. And if you're going to try and replace sugar, you're going to get loads of trade-offs, because sugar's great. Like if you think about it, sugar is so good. It tastes good, it reacts immediately inside the body, and it does exactly what it's made to do. But it's also very addictive and all the rest, you know what I mean? How are you doing? Happy New Year. Yes. Yes. Okay, number 5. We should take medication without questioning side effects or alternatives. Thoughts? Okay, go on. Okay. Is that what the look was?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I never read the side effects. I don't take it unless I take them. I just take them. If you're supposed to spread them out.
Okay.
I just,
So if you miss it, you'll just take them all in one go.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I take a handful in the morning and that's it.
Okay. So I mean,
Meant to be at night.
Yeah.
oh, okay. Okay. So I guess that's another layer to this. Taking medication correctly.
You can't read them and things.
Yeah.
They're so tiny, even.
Yeah. No, I get that. I do get it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting that you are doing something wrong by not, but the thing to consider really is the side effects, because there are so many medications that have a variety of side effects. Have you ever had a medication that has had rather...
I had blood pressure tablets, and from my knees down, my legs were like that. Couldn't get the jeans off one day. Jim had to pull them off because my legs swollen so much.
Yeah.
Anyway, they changed the pills when I saw the doctor.
Right, so that's an example.
I personally didn't cope with it, and it literally put her in ICU. The
That's scary.
That is a little extreme.
Mm.
I know someone that had a COVID injection and she had a stroke and she's paralysed down one side now. Just,
I mean, and you know, I even giving my dogs out, I'll read the leaflet
Mm.
before.
Yeah.
But even that, I shouldn't compare my dog to my dog, but even the dog, like she kept being tired,
Mm.
and I read the thing, and the dose of the medication she was on, if it was too high, it would make her fatigue.
Mm.
She's an old dog. And I spoke to my vet, I said I'm going to reduce it, we've reduced it, it's curing what it was given to her for, and she's fine. So it's, I think a little bit of knowledge.
Mm. Yeah, and it's never a bad thing to know what the negative effects could potentially be, especially because if you start experiencing them, let's say you start taking medication and then a little time goes by and then you start to feel some kind of a side effect, but you never connected the dots between the side effect and the medication, you might think it's a whole new problem. So then you might end up going back to the doctor later about this new side effect, thinking it's a whole new thing, but actually it's related to the last thing. That's actually what my dad's experiencing right now. He's in a battle right now trying to get them to take him seriously about changing his medication and finding something that's a better solution. He's on this blood pressure medication, which is just wiping out his energy levels. He can't sleep, or he sleeps for far too long. He just doesn't feel good most of the time. And it's tough because if he doesn't take it, his blood pressure's through the roof. So there's that, right?
And the thing is, sometimes it can just be the dose.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily be the medication.
Yeah.
Some medications even exacerbate the problem they're given to you for
Mm.
if the dose is right.
Yeah, like sleeping tablets, that can be the case.
Cody used to take an antithrombotic,
Mm.
and because the dosage wasn't right, it caused it to seizure.
Mm.
So, but once they got the dose right, she was on it 20 years, but it's getting the dose right.
Yeah, I get that. Ultimately, though, we need to discuss these things with the doctor. You need to communicate, these are the side effects I'm experiencing. Are there alternatives? Is there a different type that I can take? A lot of people don't realize that for cholesterol medication, there's a whole array. And sometimes, not always, sometimes the GP will prescribe the one that's cheaper. But that does happen. So, well, and there's that whole side of things as well to consider. So again, look for negative side effects. Match the side effects to when you start taking it and the type of medication, and do look at the leaflet. And I know it's small, and I know it's finicky, and I know that getting back in touch with the doctor takes a long time, and then they're going to have a go at you because they want you to keep taking the medication. But you get what I'm saying. You know, don't ignore. Read. Also, that was my favorite page. I like this page. Anyway, topic 6. This one's a little bit more niche, but it's still a common misconception that I wanted to talk about. Cancer patients should avoid all sugar. Firstly, have you heard that before? You've heard that before? Anybody else heard that? You've heard that? Does anybody know why?
I'm assuming it's got something to do with their chemotherapy. I can't think of any other why, because a cancer patient, just the word cancer, if it's treatable, you're going to have chemotherapy or radiotherapy. So it's got to be something to do with how they're maintaining it or curing the cancer.
Okay, I get why you're thinking that. It's actually not that. It's actually to do with how the cancer cells feed. So all cells across the entire body feed off of glucose in the blood, right? Cancer cells happen to feed off of more glucose than other cells around the body. Now, because of that, there's this idea that you shouldn't have any sugar at all, because if you've got sugar in your body, then the cancer cells are going to feed off of it and then grow larger at a quicker rate, right? And there's some truth to that to an extent. However, the problem with that is that you know, because you've been coming here, your blood sugar will change for a variety of reasons. It's not just about the sugar that we eat, right? And also, the cancer cells are gonna feed. They're gonna feed because they're cancer cells, right? So overall, if I say to a cancer patient, oh, no sugar at all, that might lead them to believe that means that the cancer cells aren't going to grow.
My sister had ovarian cancer 17 years ago.
Mm.
Still here. But she's got such a sweet tooth. I mean, it's 2 heaped tablespoonfuls in a cup of tea.
Yeah.
She chocolate diagnosed tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. And I, you know, I've always said I don't think that anybody should need to eradicate anything from their diet. In this case, I don't think that you should have to, because it's important to understand that there are just other things to consider, right? So you could eradicate. Sorry, Dream, what were you going to say?
I was going to say it's impossible to have no sugar, isn't it?
It's close, yeah.
Unless you eat lettuce, seeds and tomatoes.
Well, those tomatoes. But if I were to eradicate sugar from my diet, but I'm incredibly stressed, that alone can cause my blood sugar to start to go up, and then there's sugar in my blood, right? Or, like, kind of leading on from what you said, a lot of the treatments, the medications, the chemotherapy, all that stuff actually can cause blood sugars to go crazy. So in that case, again, you may not have any sugar in your diet, yet your blood sugar may still be higher than usual or quite high. And as a result, the cancer cells will feed. So it's very fascinating. I've been learning about this because I've been doing seminars for, you know, the Helen Rollason Cancer Charity? So I've been doing sessions for them. In fact, on Monday, I'm going to be doing some staff training with their therapists, which is really cool. But yeah, this is just a common question that I get asked. And I just think it's quite interesting. Any thoughts on this? Any questions or anything? Or any questions on any that we've done so far?
It's funny because our leukemia children, when they're having their chemotherapy, they've always got chocolate.
Yeah.
Little squares of chocolate because they lose their taste buds
Yeah.
really quickly. They don't taste anything, but they've got firmly tongue.
Mm.
So they suck on the chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and also, are you going to deprive?
Exactly. I said eat what you want. But
Yeah,
eat.
I get you. But of course, we could then talk about, like, alcohol, for example, is a different story. But when it comes to sugar alone, this is a very common misconception I hear. All right, number 7. Processed foods are always bad. They are convenient. Let's do a show of hands. Hands up if you agree with that statement. Well, I put that up there for a reason.
Are you saying all processed foods?
I'm saying processed foods as a whole are always bad. True or false? Okay. Always. Well, I've written them that way intentionally. Yeah. I've also written them this way because this is kind of like a headline you'd see. Processed foods bad, or cancer patients shouldn't eat sugar. You know, those kind of headline ones that grab your attention a little bit. But processed foods are always bad. What do I mean by processed? That's the question.
Is that a lot done to it?
Potentially. So they've had a lot of work done. Okay, so in this case, right, this is an example of products that we know of, right? And this will not only be a very mishmashed product, but it will have a lot added to it. So what I want you to think about is a processed food is a food that has been processed, but there's a degree to which it's been processed. So for example, if I go out into the fields and I start picking wheat, that's processed to a degree because actually its original form was coming out of the ground. So now I've processed it by taking it out of the ground. Now I've gone inside, I've milled it, now it's more processed. Now I've added that to some bread, now it's even further processed, right? In this case, I've done the same thing. I've taken the ingredients, I've made this. Now, if I were to just make noodles, that would be one thing. If I went a step further and then I started adding MSG and I started adding preservatives and colorings and flavorings and thickeners and then suddenly I've got something that's a lot more processed and potentially ultra processed. That's when I'm starting to get into the world of bad. But even then, you know, if I've got, all right, let's say I've got a big family loads of mouths to feed. I've got a single, I've got a single income. Actually, are these bad or are these good? Because now I'm feeding my family, right? So the trouble with talking about processed foods is that it becomes rather exclusionary, because actually a lot of the processed foods are less expensive. So, I can say all day, buy the less processed foods. But if you've got mouths to feed and a tighter budget, that's a difficult task. So it's a really tricky subject area. What are your thoughts on this?
Sorry, it's just like Bisco bread news when you make gravy. It's never seen a cow, it's all things,
Yeah,
potatoes.
yeah, this is true. This is true. Or prawn cocktail crisps, having a smidge of prawn or cocktail inside them. So the other thing to think about is when you're finding products, I want you to think about yourself like the distance it has traveled from its original product, right? So I always talk about oats. You've got your whole grain oats here. These largely won't really affect blood sugar all that much, depending on your body. They've got a lot of fiber, protein, fat, they've vitamins, minerals, all the good stuff, right? And then you move this way, and now you've got instant oats. And instant oats have been stripped of a lot of that goodness, and that's why they're instant. Same thing with instant rice. Instant rice actually affects blood sugar more than your typical rice, because it's kind of been stripped away of some of the goodness. And then if you go all the way this way, you've got oat milk, which has just been so heavily processed and blended, and then ingredients added to it. So actually, a lot of people don't realize that oat milk actually affects blood sugar quite a decent amount in comparison to cow's milk or soy milk. It's interesting. Do you feel like you're getting better at recognizing processed foods out there? Yeah? Do you feel like you've done a good job of removing some of them as well? Okay. That's all you can do. We can try.
Everything that's like tastes really salty to me.
Yeah, I bet. Since when are you, what's the...
2.5 years.
Okay, right, oh, since the heart, since the heart. Yeah, I bet.
If I get anything this quick process, a pot noodle. Oh my God, it was evil.
Yeah.
I'm like, how the hell did I even eat it?
Yeah.
All it was stuff eating pure salt.
Mm.
Can I just say,
Mm.
I don't eat that.
Mm.
I am, so that's in the back and that's processed, isn't it?
What is it, AMS?
Ham.
Ham. Yeah, it is processed. But again, that's okay. I mean, there are definitely different, there are so many different processed products that we can get. With ham, it depends largely on the brand that I'm buying, also the price point that I'm buying at as well. Like, you can go to some places where you can get like the fancy packs of ham. There's less in them. There's like 4 pieces of ham, so like 1 sandwich's worth. But you've got like 4 pieces in there, and sometimes they'll add less into it. Whereas if I get, like the big pack where it's all stacked up, it's more likely that more has been added to that one. Yeah. Especially with pork products, though. Pork products typically has a lot of preservatives used in it. All right, go for it. I actually don't know. But I do know that if you can get sliced beef, which is just beef and salt, but you rarely can find sliced ham that doesn't have like sodium nitrate in it and stuff like that. That's part of the reason why I've not been having pork products recently.
What happens if you buy a ham off the bone?
See, that's the best thing you can really do, is to make your own, cook it yourself, slice it up, have that, over the next week. That's the best thing you can do. Because in that case, it's processed, but you're processing it. And then you can control what goes into it, how I'm cooking it, what I'm having with it, and so on. Obviously, cooking your own ham every week is...
I don't eat meat, but anyway.
Yeah. All right, number 8. White bread is unhealthy. And that's one that you hear quite frequently, or at least I've heard quite frequently. White bread. Right? Well, and also because of the processed topic. We can get a lot of brown bread that's actually very highly processed. You can find white bread that's less processed. Same with the sourdough version. If I get white bread that is sourdough, or sourdough bread that is white, it will often contain less than maybe the Hovis or the Warburton's brown bread. And also, just because I've said brown bread doesn't mean I'm talking about wholemeal bread. There's a distinction there too, because I could get brown bread which is primarily made of white flour, but that has some darker flours in it, or maybe it has some colorings in it. It could say brown bread on the front, but wholemeal was really what I'm looking for. And then again, I still want to look at those ingredients. Yeah. You know this one already, but I like to add it in. Type 2 diabetes is caused by eating too much sugar. Throw a few out for me. What are a few other causes? Stress? Pills? Oh, did you say bills or pills? Pills, yeah, absolutely. Different medications. Was there? Obesity, big one. Menopause, yeah. Sounds like you guys have read my upcoming book. But yeah, still, you know what's funny is that still frequently I will start a program off and someone will say, oh, and it's funny, I thought that it would have become more of a well-known thing because how many people are kind of talking about it and learning about it, but yeah, no, this is still a very common misconception. But I guess it makes sense, doesn't it? Because if we're talking about blood sugar, you automatically think sugar, so it makes sense, I guess. Number 10, eggs are bad for blood cholesterol. Eggs are bad for cholesterol. It's a good point. Okay, let's circle back to that one. Poached. How many eggs? So another good question. The way they're cooked as well. Is anybody certain one way or another on this one? Okay, so that's really the common bit that a lot of people talk about. All right, different question. Same question, but if I asked you this 30 years ago, what would your answer be? Absolutely, right? So this is not only an example of a misconception, but a misconception that has kind of changed over time. So yeah, 30 years ago, you would have been told, avoid eggs or limit your eggs or don't eat the yolk because the yolk contains cholesterol and we want to avoid that before our cholesterol. However, although it contains cholesterol, according to current research, eggs don't actually contribute to our bad cholesterol levels. Now, I don't know, if I'm honest, I should have looked it up beforehand. I don't know if there's a limit these days. I don't know what the recommended limit is in terms of egg consumption. So I don't know if...
I just got back to remembering being a parent. No, you couldn't eat eggs for
we're of an age where we remember that.
Yeah, well, exactly. And what was the... Do you remember hearing why and what?
It was to do with salmonella.
Yeah. You shouldn't eat eggs full stop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that... I thought that was just raw eggs.
No, it was any eggs.
Any eggs.
Yeah. But then they did it with the beef as well.
Yeah.
Blackhead disease.
Yeah. Might have to explain a lot. I used to say go to work on an egg. That was a slogan.
Yeah. When was that?
Egg and shoulders. Egg and shoulders. Soldiers, they even put it.
I tried in 87, so it's early 80s, I would say.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What I like about this topic as well is that it highlights that there are foods that contain cholesterol, but that don't affect our cholesterol levels, or at least not the measurements that the GP is going to tell us when we go for a test. So cholesterol itself is not good nor bad. It's just, like we've talked about, it's just got different things to do around the body. If we start having foods that increase our LDL level, that's the type of cholesterol the doctor's going to warn you about. That's when we have to be worried. It's foods like the coconut oil, the fatty meat, the biscuits and cakes and stuff like that. That's what's going to contain that. Whereas the eggs, again, I don't know the exact number that we are now currently recommended to have, but luckily they actually don't impact our cholesterol levels, which is nice to know. The other day I had a woman in the class say to me that she was like, what's the limit on eggs? I was like, I need to I need to look it up. She was like, because my son's having a 10-egg omelette every day. I was like, you tell your son, he doesn't need all of that in one go. 10 eggs in one go is a lot.
Depends whether they're buying the cheap ones or they're buying the proper ones.
She actually asked me that for that reason. She was asking if there's a difference between like the Class A and the free range or whatever it is.
You can tell the difference.
Yeah, you can. You can. Well, she was asking about the quality of them. Well, actually, that's a good one to add to this. Caged or free range, and the difference in terms of visually is quite clear. The way that I think about it is the way that the animal is treated in an and I mean that in the ethical sense, but also in like the sense of, well, what medications are they getting? What food is the animal being fed? Is the animal getting enough exercise? Is it incredibly stressed? Because that's going to impact the meat and the eggs and the milk and the... So actually, yeah, in most cases, you probably find that the healthier bird creates the healthier egg, you know? Okay, please.
NHS recommends eggs as a nutritious part of a balanced diet with no strict upper limit, but focusing on preparation and variety.
Oh, okay, yeah, we were going to circle back to that. Nice. So they don't have a recommended limit?
No,
All right, 10-egg omelette it is.
that's a lot of eggs.
That's a lot of eggs. That's a lot of eggs.
I mean, it used to be, I'm sure when I was at Weight Watchers younger, it was 2 a week.
2 a week?
2 a week.
What time was that? When was that?
About 40 years ago.
Okay. 2 a week.
2 a week. That was what your allowance was in the Weight Watchers programs.
Interesting.
Is that young man actually bodybuilding or something?
I think so. I think he's lifting. That's obscene. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so preparing the eggs. So
Boiled and poached. And you like poached and boiled are best.
yeah.
You like boiled. I do like a boiled, I like a boiled, but not the yolk.
Not the yolk?
Yeah, I do like a
Okay.
but my
Nice.
go-to
Nice.
is if I have yeah, it's fried.
Mm.
Fried breakfast, it's got to be a poached egg.
Interesting. Do you like a hollandaise sauce? No. So we're cooking the eggs, poached and boiled. We're going to run into less problems generally. As soon as we start frying, the problem really is the frying rather than the frying the egg, you know. So that brings me to a bit of advice that I've given you before, but why not? When you're cooking with oil, best thing to do is keep it at a lower temperature where possible. So you want to prevent it there. We want to prevent it from smoking. So in that case, the egg, you know, the oil starts to smoke and then I'm cooking it. Well, now I've got the added effect of the high temperature, because that's when the oil starts to transition and change. It becomes more toxic, starts to lose its nutritional benefits. So in that case, the boiling or the poaching might be a better way to go.
But just one thing about the eggs.
Mm.
I have this discussion at home. We buy the eggs and they're on the shelf, don't they?
Yeah.
And I go and put them in the fridge.
Yeah.
And why not? Because the fridges are designed for them. You get the little trays to put the eggs in the fridge. This one's one, Mel. We've done a 10-tray egg thing, which I've still got. We normally can't find
For the fridge. Nice.
Yeah.
I think I've got a 10 one.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's
But
the discussion we had.
I've heard this before. People, because like I've got a neighbor, they have a basket of eggs in their in their kitchen. They have it out. But I don't actually know. That's one thing I don't know as well. I don't know what the best way to store an egg is.
Left mine neck before now on top of. I've got a freezer on top of a fridge freezer.
Mm.
So I've got a little gap on the side. So the egg boxes just fit me nice.
Oh, nice.
And when I take them out to crack them, they're half cooked
Oh,
because of the heat coming from
Oh.
the fridge and the freezer.
right.
I don't do that anymore, so they always go straight in the fridge.
Did you eat them?
No.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
I'm doing an omelette for him.
Right.
And as I cracked it into the jug, I'm like, that don't look right, because the outside was
Yeah.
really sort of clear, but the yolk wasn't right neither. And I cracked quite a few. They were all like it.
E.
So I don't keep them, because it was a very nice storage place.
Yeah.
They were safe, nobody ever got up there.
Well, I've been hatching something along those lines. So then just go straight to fridge.
Yeah, nice. Okay, number 11. Pink Himalayan salt is healthier than table salt.
It goes in his bath.
Yeah, nice. So in that case, maybe.
Yes, yes, it's his bath.
Let's do it. Let's do a little show of hands. Hands up if you agree with this. Pink Himalayan salt is healthier than table salt. Okay.
Unless it's media.
Unless it's
Media.
media, well, like portrayal, yeah.
Table salt is very processed, isn't it?
It's definitely more processed,
Yeah.
for sure. So I guess in saying that, it depends on your definition of healthier. I guess it's the same argument because pink Himalayan salt, sea salt, rock salt,
Cooking salt.
Maldon salt,
Refined, isn't it?
yeah, these are all just less refined versions of table salt. Now, do any of you have a strong opinion either way on this?
So, you know the pink one?
Mhm.
Has that got a stronger smell?
Uh,
Because I know you taste, obviously, the taste.
yeah, the taste is definitely different. I'm not sure about the smell. Why? Have you smelt a difference?
Some people I don't say said that they put that up and it smelled awful, but I've never experienced it.
Mm.
And they bought it for my husband because they wanted to make a mix for fishing, to go fishing, you make a bait up,
Mm.
and they were using that. Do you know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
said, that's got a smell in it, and that would attract the fish to.
Interesting.
To then,
Interesting. I'm not.
but I'm not sure because I've never had none of that.
That I'm not sure about.
No, I haven't.
Interesting. Okay, so the main difference is less processed, bigger granules, right? Typically contains more minerals. And that's where the healthier comes from. That's where you hear that a lot. So people say it's healthier because it contains a higher concentration of minerals. The thing is that most of those minerals that it has, it's got small amounts and small, little, how am I trying to say this? It doesn't have much more mineral content than your typical table salt. So that benefit that we've got, right? And if you prefer, like I actually like the taste of pink Himalayan salt more, in which case though I might be inclined to use more of it if I like the taste of it. I also find that it doesn't spread out as much. So the same thing, you end up maybe trying to fill the space a bit more. So I don't know, it depends on your view on this.
So is that still bad for you, like normal salt is though? Obviously blood pressure.
Yeah, I mean, it really is the question of, I'm getting sodium in, how much am I getting, regardless of where I'm getting it from. So whether it's table salt or pink Himalayan salt, or it's soy sauce or rock salt, same question, how much am I having, how frequently am I having it, and if I need to, should I make a reduction? And yeah. So in that case, you don't even have to worry about this one, but it's good to, it's good to know about. I like salt. I've got my family curse of liking salt, but yeah, I actually haven't done that one. Okay, I got one more, and then we'll open this up to if you've got any. 12. If you don't use your muscles, they will turn to fat. Has anybody heard that before? You've heard that before? Yeah? So I've heard this since I was young, because I was training since I was little, and I remember people always being like, if you don't keep going, if you don't keep training, all that's going to turn to fat. And I remember being like, is that possible? It's not. This is not a true statement. Gene, what you said is true.
Yeah.
Muscle will waste away, that's called atrophy, as fat potentially builds on at the same time, but that doesn't mean that the muscle is turning into fat. They're two completely different cells. So it's not possible for it to transition into a new cell, but you might find that you have muscle wastage as well as fat gain. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's an interesting one. And then with that, using your muscles can be your conventional forms of exercise, or it could be I'm doing chair exercises, or I'm doing gardening, but the point is using them rather than letting them go to waste. That's what I want to promote more than anything. All right. That was 12 topics. Actually, we did that in pretty good time. So I don't have any more after this. So do you have any you'd like to add? Have you heard of any statements that you want to fact check or anything like that?
So I'm reading a book at the moment, and it's set in Australia in the 1940s, and it's this young girl that's got pregnant from this American serviceman, and she's had a baby out of wedlock, baby's mixed race, and there's no way this baby's going back to her mum's. And her mum said to her, I told you that you'd get pregnant. You wouldn't get pregnant if you stood up. And it's underlined on the Kindle, so I thought, I've got to see how many people have underlined this. 82 people have underlined.
Wait, what does that mean if they underline it?
Oh, they've highlighted it as, oh really?
Oh, okay. I got you.
They've highlighted it. 82 people. I've never seen that many people highlight it.
That's interesting.
She can't get pregnant, she has sex now. So I thought that's definitely a misconception.
Bear that in mind. Are there any others? Do you think of any others? Yeah.
I was just saying, I've got a book, I can't even remember his bar now, but it's The Good, the Bad and the Healthy.
Okay.
And I've got to get through that. It's just,
Okay. Nice.
yeah.
Do you know what it's about overall? Like
Oh, well,
general.
In fact, he's on Facebook. He's called Tonic, and he's always popping up saying, don't eat this and don't eat that.
Oh, okay.
Buy this organic and that organic, you know. And,
Nice.
Protein, I don't know if you watched it.
Mm-mm.
Gemma Atkinson
Okay.
did it. It was really interesting. How everyone's been harmed. Even there was weight.
Oh, like the high protein stuff.
Yes, and it's got less protein in it than normal.
Yeah. Oh, that should have been one of these. I could have done that.
Interesting.
Okay.
And there was a bodybuilder on there, and he eats all these protein bars all day, and it's all rubbish.
Yeah. That one is a really interesting topic to me because I fell into that trap for a little while. Not recently, but when I was young. Because when you're young and you're lifting and you're trying to get beefy, unless you got 10 eggs a day, it can be tricky to do that.
It's quite interesting to watch.
Okay, what channel was it on?
4, I think.
Okay, cool. All right, I will find
I
that.
think it's got protein in it. It was Gemma Atkinson. It was quite interesting.
Gemma Atkinson.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll find it.
She's on the radio. But
Okay.
it's good what they were saying, and even this, the weightlifter thought he was doing the right thing.
Those products often have those sweeteners that we were talking about a lot of the time. So you have this thing thinking, oh, high protein, low sugar, and then it could actually end up disrupting your gut.
Confused about, if I can just answer.
Yeah, yeah.
Because so when I only have natural yogurt.
Mm.
But so I look at the yogurt. It's low fat, 5% fat, 10% fat, and then full fat. And I usually tend to go to the full fat. But what am I supposed to go? What are you supposed to go for? Because I look and I'm trying to see the sugars in it and trying to see
Yeah.
the fat in it.
It depends what you want. If overall my answer is the ingredients I think are more important than the fat level, because the fat content we can offset. You know, if you're getting the full fat product, but elsewhere in your diet you've been having more healthy fat, you can kind of offset it. You know, or and also the fat actually can help with a bunch of things. So the fat can help prevent your blood sugar from spiking too high. It can be good for making you feel fuller for longer. Whereas if I have a low fat or a no fat product, actually I may not even feel like I've eaten very much at all.
Because I did the famous thing with Weight Watchers and Weight Watchers yogurts. I could have eaten 10 of them. It's just like fluff.
Yeah, precisely.
So that's when I changed to proper yogurt, no flavourings. But I still get confused with the 5, the 10, and the 4.
Yeah, I just, the way I see it is it's either full fat or it's had some removed. The question then is, if I look at the ingredients, if they have removed, have they added? Because if I do get, whether it's a 10% or a 5% or it's 0%, you know, you can get low-fat yogurts that are just thin. Because the fat adds texture a lot of the time, like the fat adds the thickness. Whereas if I get a 0%, it might just be thin. but they haven't added anything to it, in which case the trade-off in that scenario is that it's just thinner. Whereas I could find another low-fat yogurt which also has like guar gum in it and xanthan gum, and it thickens it up, and
So
you know.
look at the other bits, rather than the power bit, but look at the other
Yeah.
bits.
Those ingredients, that to me is the key. And if you have a version you want to take a picture of and send it to me or put it in the group chat, you can do that. Yeah. And then I can maybe find general time. In fact, I said we were going to peruse on Tesco today again, so we'll do that. Greek yogurt is you can get the full fat, of course, or you can get one of the reduced.
That is what
Yeah. Generally the Greek one's good because often they don't add, it's just more natural a lot of the time. Yeah. So yeah, yogurt's a difficult one because there are so many different types, and they can be tampered with quite easily. Yeah.
Are there any benefits of Greek style yogurt over Greek yogurt? Like, why is that?
I don't know. And I keep forgetting to find out the answer to that question, so I'm gonna do that today. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not sure. I can't pretend like I know. I don't know.
Can I ask a question about the number of steps? Is it better to do less number of steps but faster,
Mm.
or a lot of steps but slower paced?
I'd say there is a difference. I'd say a combination of both. Let's say I'm doing 5,000 steps today, so in the middle of those brackets, and I'm doing them at one pace, my body will become accustomed to doing those 5,000 steps at that one pace. But then what might happen is when I do speed up, I might immediately, right, because my body's not accustomed to it. Your body will become accustomed to what we do with it, but also what we don't do with it. So in that case, if I want to be well-rounded, the best thing I can do is a bit of both. So what you might do is primarily let's say you do your 5,000 steps at that one pace 4 times a week, and then 3 times a week, maybe you walk a little bit, you walk a shorter distance, but you do it faster. Or you could mix it up. You could do, like, let's say you've got an incline near your house. Today, I'm going to do the incline instead. And that way, I'm working more of my cardiovascular fitness, but in a way that's slightly different. So yeah, a good variety of the two. Any others that we thought of?
Sorry, did you say you was going to cut sourdough bread?
Yeah, let's do that. What was the brand that you had?
Jason's.
Jason's. Okay, cool. Before we move on from this segment, did anybody think of any more common misconceptions that you wanted to address?
Oh, the water.
The water.
8 glasses of water a day.
Oh yeah, good one. Good one.
You started to bang on about that because of the something along the waters. I can't remember which one. This is on the news. Suffolk, they've had a lot of issues. Suffolk, yeah.
What kind of issues?
Waterballs turned off. Yeah. So they provide something like Yuki's kidney failure is only to be hydrated. They're not giving you water. Yeah. Something to do, it's Suffolk, isn't it? Yeah. Something to do with the water. So they gave everybody bottles of water, and they were saying like 8 bottles of water.
Oh, I see.
For each person, so depending on how many people's in the house. But then it didn't look like very big bottles of water. But I just think, I drink a lot of water. 8 glasses of water. I probably drink more than that easily. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to drink 2 litres a day. 2 litres. Yeah, I do that.
So
During the night as well.
when they say cups, it's meant to be a 250 ml
50 mils.
glass or cup. In which case, it's 6 to 8 glasses per day, which is recommended. So that's 1.5 litres to 2 litres per day. In most cases, I find that most people drink less than the recommended. Is it necessary that we drink the recommended? I don't know, because I'm like you, I drink more than that. That's 1 litre. I've probably drank 1 litre already in the time that we've been here. In today, I've probably drank 5 litres already, something like that. Like, I just drink a ridiculous amount of water. You okay? I wouldn't necessarily recommend as much water as I drink. A little bit more than you currently drink, though, probably isn't a bad thing unless you know that you already drink enough. Like if you're drinking a liter a day, like if you're drinking one of these a day, you could probably do with an extra 500 ml to a liter.
Oh, it says on the pill packet you're supposed to drink 2 litres with it.
Oh, this is specifically for pills that you're taking. Okay, so in your case, definitely getting that up a little bit.
But it don't always happen.
I always recommend.
Because it will always have an adverse effect. If I'm coming out, I don't take it.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, I always recommend bottles. I know that I don't have one right now, but bottles that have timestamps. They're really good actually, because if you don't remember to drink, a lot of people don't have. Like, how many of you don't get thirsty? I know a lot of people who just don't get thirsty. I'm the opposite. I'm thirsty all the time. In fact, ironically, when I was young, I got tested for type 1 diabetes because I'm just so thirsty all the time. And I don't really know why that is. I think it's my activity levels, but my dad's the same, my brother's the same. I think it's just genetic. What was my point? My point is, if you don't get thirsty and you don't remember to drink that frequently, something like that with the time of day on it, so you know how, like, it's easier to go, oh, I need to drink this much versus I haven't drank anything today, I need to drink that much. The other thing you could do is you could set a reminder, like every day you could just set every hour drink. A sip every hour would do you good and actually adds up quite a bit throughout the rest of the day. A couple of things you can do. If you wanted to reduce your appetite or like the amount that you can eat in a meal, drinking beforehand can help with that. I actually don't like it personally. It makes me feel really heavy when I drink a lot while I'm eating. Some people find that actually it helps them to eat less. So it just depends what you want. But yeah, that's a common one. But I would say that the recommendation there is probably less of a misconception and just more of a, you got to find how much is right for you. Yeah.
When they say 2 litres, is that of fluid or of water? So, I mean, I probably do a litre of water a day, but I have copious amounts of tea and coffee.
Yeah.
So would it be the fluid or just the water?
Fluid. So it's the water you drink on top of the tea and the coffee, and even things like soup, certain fruits. If you made a smoothie,
So like, say
yeah.
I was drinking 2 litres of tea a day, quite rude, you know, is that, am I?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. So it used to be, people used to say that it didn't count because certain caffeine drinks are, what's the word I'm looking for? Diuretics. However, according to what the current, thought is, it shouldn't make a difference. Yeah.
So, tri-seeds are the things to have now. What do you think?
Yeah, they're the big rave. No, tri-seeds are really great. They really are. They're the great form of fiber, great source of protein, good source of omega-3, so really good for cholesterol. Typically, you can add it to most things and maybe won't even recognize that it's there. Some people have them dry, other people soak them, and they kind of just yeah.
I'll start to have them.
Nice. How are you eating them? What are you putting them in?
You put some water in there and milk and leave them a couple of hours and then just drink it.
Or what you just? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
But I've read now that you're supposed to have it in the morning, not the night. But yeah.
Why?
Oh, I don't know. I just read it somewhere where.
Okay. I'll have to look into that myself. Okay. Nice.
Let's go. Is it best to? I presume it's best to have the organic ones while the ones have been processed, or not?
Well, this is actually a good topic for this. Organic. What do we think about organic? Pricey. Yeah, that's the main thing. The problem with organic is that it could still be highly processed and organic. It can still be something less healthy for me overall, but organic. Organic is really a selling point for a lot of people. It doesn't imply health overall. However, it's an interesting topic, right? If I said to you, Hugo, here's a product that is organic, gluten-free, and vegan. Besides from tasting horrible, what's something you might expect about this product? Potentially, or that it's healthy, just overall. Like, I've just sold you buzzwords, and organic is one of those buzzwords. It's quite interesting. Go for it.
What are your opinions on like ginger shots and that kind of advertising? And do you feel like it's unnecessary?
I think a bit of both. I think not a necessity, but these companies have found that it's an easy way to give people a benefit, but that also make money off of it as well. So, you know, you could easily slice up some ginger, put it in some hot water, make a ginger tea or something like that, or add ginger to your food or something like that, and get the same benefit. But in that case, a ginger shot is nice and convenient, and you can get it for £2 off the shelf. So a little bit both. Although I will say I don't know like the purity. You know, I don't know how beneficial the shot of ginger is as opposed to the tea that you've made or the ginger that you've eaten. So I'm not 100% sure. But I guess there's always examples like that, though. A product that is catered towards this health issue or this health, trend, but that also is beneficial to some degree.
I think that's probably because people just grab it off the shelves.
Yeah. Yeah, who's making ginger tea every day, I guess? Unless that's something that you like doing. All right, go for it.
Sparkling water,
Yeah.
is that good or bad or carbonate?
Yeah, as far as I know, I don't think that there are any problems associated with it besides from like gas.
It's not no additives really in it, is there? So that's the same as drinking still water.
Yeah, that will definitely contribute to your hydration levels as well. My mum used to drink nothing but sparkling water when I was young. Like nothing but sparkling water. She used to buy multiple of those big ones every single week. But yeah, no, yeah.
I was going to say, is it true that it's more hydrating?
That I don't know. That I'm not sure. I'll have to find that out too. I'll have to watch back this video for all the things that I said I don't know.
Because we're going to ask you.
Yeah. All right, shall we